because I know this man have plenty to say. If anybody ever follow him on Facebook when he doing his lives, you know he always have plenty to say. If you ever take in Rum Shop Talk, you know he always have plenty to say. So, he has been fixing a lot of the problems that people, have in certain communities across Trinidad and Tobago. They reach out to him. I think he has a terrific team behind him as well. And that's one of the things you must have in this particular sphere, this political, game. All right, in politics, you must have good people behind you to get the job done. And there must be a willingness to get it done. And I think that's why he's as successful as he has been over the past few years in taking, in forming a political party and bringing it from nothing to something. And I know after the last election, he said he wasn't going back again and he was going to step down as political leader. And somehow or the other, he ended up as the political leader still. But I think that's what the team wanted. And I think it was a team decision. And to go from contesting a general election and then contesting a local government election, I think it was a by-election. Was it by-election? And you all BDP NM? Not so? That's right. Yeah. I mean, some people might look at it as a small accomplishment, but anything progressive is an accomplishment, and that's progress. So without further ado, we want to introduce to you and call to the podium to speak to you the political leader of the Progressive Empowerment Party, Mr. Phillip Edward Alexander. Give him a round of applause, man.
We're ready, we're ready, yeah, we're ready, 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 we're ready, yeah, we're ready, 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 ready. Look how the sun now raising up, and the crowd now waking up. The atmosphere have vibes, and nothing can break it up. The girl them a wine on.
Yeah? Good night. When you're sitting down there where I was sitting and listening to everybody speak, the time flies. And looking into this sea of faces tonight, and I want you to give yourselves a big round of applause, please. Because Satish and Felicia could tell you, we come from far. We've had meetings where the three of us was it. And Stefan was right. It's been a long journey. When everybody speaks about politics in this country, they speak from their perspective. Why it's not working for them? That's what brings people to the conversation. You talk to somebody and things working for them, I don't deal with no politics. But when they realize that it's not working, when whatever they were holding on to is exposed, and they see, and they call on people. Because a couple weeks ago, Sunday night, I by my parents, and my son was driving in Diego Martin, and a fella got knocked down. And he called me, because he said this fella on the side of the road, and they're trying to get an ambulance, and we don't know what to do. And it reminded me of every other time I get a call from somebody that in an emergency or a crisis, there are people here tonight that that's their condition. They have a crisis and they don't know who to turn to. I have had to ask people who've messaged me with problems, have you spoken to your member of parliament? That's their job. That's their job. Have you spoken to your member of parliament? Because your member of parliament's job is to represent the 30,000 people that make up the constituency. That's what they're paid for. That's what they get the big salary for. They get paid to represent all of those people. And none of the members of parliament in this country do that. And none do it because we've let them get away with that. When we say that we only see our member of parliament at election time and we still vote for that, that is not them abusing us. That is us abusing ourselves. That is us saying to them, I know that you don't do nothing for me, but go and take a big salary. That's what it means. Now the point that Kurt could tell you, because he's a political leader, and I want to tell you, brother, thanks a lot for coming. I want to tell you, thanks a lot for coming. And I want to tell Pundit Donny, who just left. You all may not know, but Pundit Donny was the person responsible for cleaning up the pond in St. Madeleine. He coordinated that. He should get a round of applause for that. He fixed that. And when he called me on the phone, he said, Phil, we're not seeing the water. It completely covered. Can you help? Me and Satish ended up down in St. Madeleine before the sunrise. And I was there with them. First time I saw that pond, I never went before. And he was there with his team. And they did morning prayers with the sun rising. I'll never forget that experience. And people came out. And as usual, people come out when you call them out. And you say, look, we need to fix this. And people come. And they make a difference. And the only thing that is holding Trinidad and Tobago together is the good hearts of the people of Trinidad and Tobago. Make no mistake. Make no mistake. It is not the government. It is not the opposition. They do not care about you. I could say that without fear of contradiction. They do not care about you. All of the rain that fell today, that flood this country today, line up for a drainage system designed to wash it out to sea. Not to capture it, not to hold it, to throw it in the sea. No matter how much fall, it could reach up to your neck with flood. At some point, all of it will end up in the sea. None of it is kept. We do not have a water policy that works for you. We have a water policy that works for Dominic Hadid and Blue Waters. We have a water policy that works for the fellas with the private trucks, because Wassa tell you, don't buy no water. Don't buy no water. If you have no water, call we, the water free. But when you call them, they say we come in 2 weeks. And Akil Nelly couldn't come today because he didn't want to come smelling nasty. He had to bed, he went down a tank and get your own water. And if that was not bad enough, there's a saying, adding insult to injury. And the insult to that injury that they add is that former members of parliament who know that our water policy is called catch it in the hill and throw it in the sea, they know you don't have water. And they know that water is an important thing for your life. So they've conned us into accepting desalination of seawater when more water falls on this country in a year than we could use. More water. We have more water. And I've spent years, I've walked up every river. Some of you all know those videos. I walk up the rivers, I show them the start of the Maraval, the start of the Chagaramas, start of Diego Martin. I went up on top Cumberland Hill during a heavy rainstorm, and I show them the mud plume. I say, you see that? That's the topsoil that washing down all these mountains and washing out to the sea. And I show them, I say, you see that plume? That place there is called Westmoreland. You see that plume is 4 times the size of Westmoreland. Water don't just flow on the surface. Water don't just flow on the surface. That is a full body of proper fresh water that you, the people of Diego Martin, Maraval, Woodbrook, St. Anne's, Cascade, Barataria, Sawa, right through. That water supposed to be captured and held to be treated and distributed. That is the PEP's water policy. That is our water policy. We live in a country with a rainforest climate. We've been spat out of the Amazon. Trinidad's whole black water that you see on our leeward side, the reason you're seeing black water, that is called the Orinoco flow. That is what flows straight to Trinidad and Tobago. Capybara swimming from Venezuela and Brazil into Trinidad. That's what we get to know. We have the same climate as the Amazon. If Trinidadians stop cutting grass for a month, grass reach your neck. If we weren't here, Trinidad would be a rainforest. So how do we not have water? Has to be by deliberate design. To sell this. To pay for desalination. $500 million a year is that contract. $500 million. 500 million. Now, if you put that in the perspective of hampers like Precious and David, Felicia, they take care of that for the people who come to us hungry. You can't feed the children. You get 2 hampers for $500. So that means for the money that we spend desalinating water that we do not need to desalinate, 1 million people could get 2 hampers each. And that's just one thing. That's just one thing. We don't calculate in our heads. Philip say $500 million. Philip say $1 billion. But we don't calculate that that comes out of our pocket. We pay that. The members of parliament do not pay taxes. They are not paying that. You are paying the $100 million to mine them. You are paying the $50 million in tax breaks for vehicles for them every 2 years. You are paying the $500 million to desalinate water that we do not need to desalinate. You are paying the $1 billion to operate water that is not operating. You are paying the $1 billion every year lost on the port. Port business is the only business in the world that can't lose money except in Trinidad and Tobago. Port business is the biggest business in the world and will continue to grow and be the biggest business in the world because everything in this room, look around, everything shipped. Everything. The chair you're sitting on, the paint that painted, everything shipped. Our port loses $1 billion every year, every year, every year, every year. How? How is that possible? A monkey on roller skates could make our port profitable. How is ours losing money? How? $500 million, the 2 Oompa Loompas of Coleman, Burt and Rohanson and Ann just spent building the Tanti 1% flyover to West Mall. Nobody in the country need it. 500 million. You pay for that. You pay the $500 million to paint the Red House. You pay that, the $51 million to paint some doors. You pay that. You are making people rich. You, when people drive and splash you in the Porsche Cayenne, you pay for that. Enjoy the splash. Say, wet me. I buy that. And you have to understand, you the people of Trinidad and Tobago, you who are watching, who are listening, this is the furthest thing in the world. The furthest thing is this could ever be about me. Not a single person, not Stefan, nobody here. Not Kurt. Kurt is a boxer. Kurt is a sportsman. Nobody here want to be in politics. Not one of us. Not one of us. But those who are in politics beating us to death. I want to show you something. They only have one political party in this country that is tell the truth. Only one. I'll give you an example. Today, yes, the PEP. Today, somebody sent something to me. I want to play this from my phone through the microphone.
Our constitution was drafted that the special branch reports to whom? Take a guess who the special branch reports to. Not the commissioner of police. The prime minister. People don't know that. It is a fact. I was the Minister of National Security and I was the Commissioner of Police. I can tell you, they report directly to the Prime Minister. There are two special branch officers here tonight that are actually macroing and watching everything that is being said. Because, now Lauren, don't look around. They're just doing their job. But I'll tell you why. Because the role and function of the special branch, listen, is to attend every political meeting by opponents of the government and report to the Prime Minister who attended and what was said. Ladies and gentlemen, this is dictatorship. It must end.
Right. But you was the Minister of National Security. And it didn't matter to you then when it was working for you. And that is what upsets me. And you were the Commissioner of Police. But when you and Rowley was good, it wasn't a problem that Special Branch was reporting to Rowley. Because we now hear you talk about that. And I want you to understand, my partner Kurt was at that meeting too. And I want you to understand, I know Gary since I was a little boy. But politics in this country cannot be about who is your friend and who you like. Politics in this country has to be about the truth in Trinidad and Tobago. Tell me the truth. I don't want sound effects. Save them for Stefan. And I'm not just out to knock Gary, but I want to knock him early so that he understands I am not your friends in the media. I am not your political partners or your 1% friends. I will call you out, brother. You were the National Security Advisor to a Prime Minister when Special Branch was reporting to her. How come it wasn't dictatorship then? Keith Rowley told this nation, I went to the Prime Minister in August 2003. Tell him about massive bid rigging in Unicott. That speech was given in the Parliament in 2009. I went to the Prime Minister in August 2003. But you're telling us in 2009. Why we now finding out? Because Calder had fire you. So you no longer have cabinet food and cabinet wine. So we get to find out. And that is why you cannot trust Keith Rowley. And that is why you cannot trust any politician who comes to you and tells you those problems only after they get fired. That is not somebody you could trust. So when I hear people say about the things that people say about Phillip, bad talk me, I I didn't come here for friends. I come here to tell you the truth. And the truth will set this country free. But it will piss you off first, I'm telling you that. But the truth, you could go back. I have done thousands of hours of live video. I am the most documented politician in this country. And I have said the same thing. I have asked Keith Rowley, how do you know which tongue to talk with today? Every time you speak, you say something convenient to the moment. That's not what you want from your leaders. You want one thing. When you speak to me, tell me the truth. We've had situations happen in this country where ministers have openly lied to the people, and we knew they were lying while they were speaking, and it was allowed to continue. You think any friend of any minister have any old blue notes they're looking to get change? That's not for them. That's for you. But what make them better than you? What make them better than you? When David Lee get charged yesterday, I said, slow your roll. This ain't you. This is not the first time that a government or opposition MP have taken advantage. It's not the first time somebody in religion. There are people who benefit from tax-free status in this country that have been doing this for decades. And I have asked for decades, why are these people getting tax-free to purchase multi-million-dollar vehicles? Why? The $50 million every 2 years, that's the estimate. $50 million. Stephen Cadiz wrote about it last night, and then he had to say in the end, he benefited from 2 vehicles. You've never had a politician in this country tell you in advance, we will cut out that exemption from politicians if we are in office. There are many reasons to cut it out, but the most important reason is, you see, big shot-itis. Big shot-itis is what's stopping them from serving you. When you pull into a job, and you used to be driving a Yaris, and all of a sudden you're in a Range Rover with hand-stitched leather, you can't talk to Yaris people again, you move up. If your whole constituency is B14 and Yaris, if you find all your MPs in Bayshore, Goodwood Park, they drive into that level now. We need to make sure that the people who come to serve. You know it's a good deal? At the end of the 5 years, you could get some kind of bonus. Because the Progressive Empowerment Party also says, our first act is institute recall, so that the same people who hired you could fire you if you're not doing the job. That is massively important. And you have to get every other politician to agree to that before you hire them. Because if you vote Stuart Young into office as the Member of Parliament for Port of Spain North, St. Anne's West, and Stuart Young don't know the sufferation going on in Belmont, Cascade, and St. Anne's, those people should be able to fire Stuart Young and hire somebody else to come and take care of the business. That's the job. Yes. Bring her up here. You okay with talking to the mic? Look how brave. Look how brave. Hello. The next thing the Progressive Empowerment Party say we're going to take away is blue lights. Taking it away. If you're responsible for traffic, but you could evade traffic, what motivating you to fix traffic? I must sit down in a cabinet and the minister works on transport, reach late. I say, who to blame but you? If they have traffic and you're not fixing it, what is the good of you? I want my Minister of Health to lie down comfortable in Mount Hope. Comfortable. Don't come and tell me, boss, I got to do all them stunts. But you see me Charan, I want them to go Miami. No, sir. Mount Hope, not West Shore. Mount Hope, San Fernando, Point 14, Arima, Port of Spain. Go and lie down. Watch me. If it's smelling a pee-pee, fix it. You will know firsthand. Nobody will come and tell you. I want to take away all them tax break. I want my ministers calling. You see the price of corned beef, boy? I want that. When people tell you that you have to give those perks that attract the brightest and the best, I tell them, all you lucky they are cheering here today. I tell them, I say, where in our government is the best and the brightest? It's not working. It backfire. We don't have the best and the brightest. Who's the best and the brightest? Terence de Alsing, Stuart Young, Faris Al-Rawi, Rohan Sinanan. Rohan Sinanan gets scared by a little flashing orange light. See that? Frighten him. You know why? Because he tell all you, fix the road, and we take him seriously. You want me to show you? We go come and do it. It panic him. I want him to see. I want the cameras to show. We have 150 of them. People coming to buy barrel now. They say, I want a barrel. I put in it in front of my house. That is how we go do it. We will terrorize him with that flashing orange light. Rohan Sinanan, you mustn't sleep in the night. People, listen now. Dion could tell you. The people, Dion used to come and see me, boy. Dion used to say, boy, Philip, you had to come Maruga, boy. You had to come Maruga. And you know me, eh? I duck in that. I try in all how I ain't going Maruga. Sheldon can't call me, boy. Oh, Sheldon can't used to ring up my phone. I duck in that. Satish tell me, you're not running for elections in town. You had to go Maruga. So we go on Maruga. And when we reach Maruga, everything that the people of Maruga were saying about the conditions of the place and how they were living, they didn't emphasize it enough. We drove through roads. We had a whole caravan went with us. And the road, this is how the road fall apart. Eh? One car of the caravan on the right lane, about 12 feet above the caravan car on the left lane. And we filmed that. And we filmed Miss Lorna's house, remember? And I seen the member of parliament posting picture after picture after picture, but they couldn't find her. They couldn't find her. And she wasn't getting the job done. She's taking the credit now. Because they're on rolling pitch in Maruga. Because the Progressive Empowerment Party was there. And they're fixing it. And all of them trying to boast, look at fix. And I want to say to you, we take this with pride. We take this with pride. If you go to Point 14, my job is not to mediate between ketchup and mustard. My job is not to say which one less worse. Both of them bad. But the Point 14 highway, we spend we money. Open the highway. Give the people, you know what people here from Point 14? And I just feel sorry for that crew. Because everywhere we go in the day, and I just think to myself, because I've been to Point 14 a couple times. And driving to Point 14 is not easy. You have to get accustomed to that abuse, to even consider coming out of Point 14. You have to be saying to yourself, I could do this. We, the people of Trinidad and Tobago, have to put, and I say this to you all, free of any contradiction, I do not need the work. When people refer to me as future Prime Minister and thing, I still blush. I still give you an uneasy smile. I don't want that job. I know that we can do the job. And if you give us the job, it will not be like what you've seen, business as usual, as a prime minister in this country for the past 30, 40 years. Can't be. It can't. Listen now. Only arrest and charge David Lee yesterday, but Patrick Manning imported a vehicle and in 1 month sold it to Nankisoon Budra. And plenty people don't know that that was his real name. Patrick Manning imported a vehicle to this country, used his parliamentary privilege to import a vehicle for Dole Chedi. And he was the Minister of Mines and Energy. Patrick Manning should have gone to jail. We made him Prime Minister. He should have gone to jail. When they arrest and charge David Lee yesterday, if he wrong, charge him, prosecute him. But don't be using the justice system of the country in an uneven way. I'm not going to like that. I'm not going to stand by and say that that is okay. That could never be, because you never know when you're ignoring wrongdoing. You never know when that wrongdoing could fall on you. It could fall on your loved ones. And this is mission critical. That we, the people of Trinidad and Tobago, have to tell ourselves, red, white, black, green, every shade in between. This is our country. It belongs to all of us. Everybody who is elected to public office must serve all of us equally. All the laws, all the state, all the organizations, everything that taxpayers' money touch must benefit all of us equally or not at all. And we have to believe that we are entitled to that. We have to believe that we are entitled to that. And that is why you have to stop making royalty out of these people. They don't deserve it. If you want to hero worship somebody, hero worship the member of parliament who, because he was your member of parliament, life changed for you and your family. That the constituency working. Hero worship that person. Tell them I will vote for that person again. But don't vote for people just because of the party that they're in. Don't vote for people just because of their race. Don't vote for the people because of the color of their shirt. Vote for people to serve you. That's the job. All of these guys and our one female, I don't know how that happened. Now we had two, but one sick. But every couple of weeks we're going to launch more. But all of them could tell you, in this political party, we have children here, boy. But I know they have certain slangs. This is a go-bar-free zone. Yeah? You cannot get away with nonsense in this party. We don't allow it. There is very little distance between me and the team. There is not a damn dog bark thing in this party. Yeah? I work hard because I know what I expect of my team. And I know the kind of people that on my team. They ain't go sit down there and say, so you on the beach and we working? They're not taking that. And it is imperative to all of you to start now Put your member of parliament under pressure to deliver. Put them under pressure to deliver now. If you're catching your tail, if the school ain't working, if mosquito biting, if crime and shooting, go by a member of parliament. He's only come on a Thursday. Everybody go there Thursday. And if he don't come, the media will come. And they will say that everybody in this constituency want to fire the MP. Let that be the news. Let it be the news in all the constituencies where the members of parliament not working. And let it be the news until it reach the Prime Minister office. Until they say, brother, the buck stops with you. Your team failing. Your team. I want to say this to you, and I really want this, and this is why I do that live video. This is why I do all those videos and go out on the road and talk so hard. People just talk about Phillip aggressive. I want you to hear that passion. I want you to hear me reach up high and pull them down low. I want you to know that they are not above you, they are below you. They are public servants and they are supposed to be serving you, and they're not going to get any special treatment from me until they do that job. Until they do that job. And I want 1.4 million Trinbagonians to wake up our parliament, wake up our government, wake up the cabinet, wake up your member of parliament and tell them business as usual is over. That the Progressive Empowerment Party is putting shadow MPs on the ground. That without being paid the big money that you being paid, our shadow MPs are coming to show that they could have always delivered. That they could have always fixed it if they wanted to. And it's important. And it's important that we, the people, stop accepting the nonsense that takes place between the PNM and the UNC and their destruction. We have to stop accepting that. Stop letting them distract you. Their job is to serve. If somebody gets murdered in this country, it should stop the whole country. We should want a resolution. We're living in a country where people are arguing about less than 10% of murders are solved. Less than 10% are solved. That means 90% of the murderers are walking free to murder again. They say the first murder is the hard one, you know. After that, of the 10% that they are interdicting, how much of them are they prosecuting? Of that 10, how many actually get? Let's talk about some of the big cases that finish. The lady from Extra Foods, who they cut up on the pool table. Case mash up, everybody gone their way, nobody convicted. Remember that? Dana Sitahal. When Dana Sitahal was murdered, Gary Griffith was Minister of National Security. He was fired. That party lost office. There's another party in office 7 years now, and still no resolution. How is that possible? How is it possible when Vernon de Lima, and there is a video with Vernon talking that they use and they share to talk about this is how we should fix it. And they're not telling you that they're so ridiculous. They thief that interview from my video. Because Vernon was talking to me. It is only when he was talking to me, he could have been frank and candid and said that we could fix it. That you should not have cases taking more than a year. That the judge has the responsibility to case manage. The Progressive Empowerment Party, after much consultation with former directors of public prosecution, senior police officers, criminal defense attorneys, we have done research, local, regional, international, and we've come up with a policy for the management of crime and punishment in the country. That if you arrest somebody, you have 24 hours to charge them or release them. If you charge them, you have 6 months to prosecute or the case collapse. If you begin to prosecute, you have 1 year to convict. And I'll tell you why. There are people in this country, David Lee is going to walk around with that charge over his head for years. Anand Ram Logan is walking around with a charge over his head. Porter Marlene McDonald, George Young's stepdaughter. Again, why is our justice system so bad? Why? Of the 5 things we asked for after Andrea Barrett was murdered, one of them was a commission of inquiry into the criminal justice system. Prime Minister said, commission of inquiry don't work. But you have a commission of inquiry into how his government murdered 4 men in a pipe. They don't even have internet. The commissioner, who I expected that they hire the partner, I said that's how they just move. They want an outcome. But this man's so upset, he said, I ain't get pen and paper, boy. Progressive Empowerment Party say we will deliver stationery tomorrow. Minister of Communication say, wait. We're going to solve the problem. We're not playing no blame game. He in the media was to drag the Minister of Communications over the coals. You have to identify who was to blame and fire that person. It's not a blame game. It's called accountability. That's how it works. If that was a private sector job, you think he was getting away with that? And that's our reality. And we could talk, and I know that as you say, I talk a lot. But the issues that affect you and your life, when you study that the estimated value of the security for people's houses from the lighthouse to Shagaramas is worth $10 billion. That's from the lighthouse to Shagaramas. That's about 100,000 people. That is too much money to be spending on security in a country that spends $9 billion in national security. So we paying you to secure us, but we also spending money to secure ourselves. We're paying you for water, but we also spending money to store water. And when that don't come, we're spending money to buy water. How much times we're paying you to educate our children, but we're paying for extra lessons after the classes. We're paying you for public health, but we're also paying to go private health because public health killing people. How many things in this country are the taxpayers paying for twice? Check yourself. That's what's wrong with Trinidad and Tobago. And now you're spending $100 million for a whole government, and Pep had to come and give you a better government too. But this one, taxpayers ain't paying for that one. I'll get it. I'm going to wrap up. I want to tell you this. Now that we have 10 pairs of boots on the ground, well, 9, Omra, people ask me, how do we choose our candidates? How do we choose them? By race? By are you perfect in your body? All we want. Gender? Care about that? Who you're praying to? Don't tell me about that. We want patriots. We want people who you could trust. We want people who you know that if you give them the job, they will keep their word and they will deliver. And that is what you got tonight in our 10 shadow MPs. And in a couple weeks, you're going to get 10 more. And I tip in you this to tell you this. Pundit Donny, he tell me he quit. I quit what was keeping me back, so I ready put a Pep jersey on me. That's what we're talking about. Stefan with pride today when he walked through that door, he said, give me a Pep jersey now, it's only me ain't gonna be wearing one. I say, you know what? He had a talk after, a little get flashback. Eh? Our reality as a country has to be 1.4 million people being served by government. That's it. 1.4 million people being served by government. We want the government, when the Minister of Finance comes to talk and tell us the budget, we want it to make sense. Don't just tell me you're spending $1 billion here and $2 billion there and don't break it down and give it to me where that money going. Because that's how they thief in, straight from in your pocket and have your children suffering. All the people who messaging me and telling me how hard their life is, the question I ask you all the time is, did you go to your member of parliament first? Because it is important. And we have to start to put aside all this false pride and shame. You see this thing we have in Trinidad where we don't know how to tell people we catching we aunt, uncle, and nenen? We have to start saying it. Eh? We have to talk it. Because it is only then we will start to tell one to another, hey boy, it's hard, boy. Life in Trinidad, hard. People sneaking out of Trinidad and Tobago. They're sneaking out. They don't want to be here no more. They have nobody happy in Trinidad. When you see Lindsay Gillette and Pauline, what's her name? Aboud. When you see them put up gates in Bayshore, the kind of gates they put up in Bayshore to keep people out of Bayshore, that is not happiness. That is fair. You cannot be living in that kind of fear and be happy. No 1% happy in this country. Nobody happy in Trinidad and Tobago. Look at Richard Azar. Richard Azar he had to put camera in the park to watch his own house. I feel sorry for him. I feel sorry for him. You could imagine how fearful you have to be for you to put cameras all the way across the road watching your own house. Who you think coming for you? Nobody happy. Nobody happy, Trinidadians. If we're not drunk or high or stoned, we're not happy. We're not. It is not a good place to live right now. Trinidad is the worst place in the world to live right now. And we could fix that because Trinidad is biblical Eden. Trinidad is paradise. God gave us more here than he was supposed to give anywhere. And we've let people come and pretend to be dividers by race and religion and thief everything from us. We allow that and want to talk God is a Trini. We have an opportunity because there exists a progressive empowerment party. Let us not waste that opportunity. We have announced the first 10 shadow MPs. Before Christmas, you will have all 41. The Progressive Empowerment Party is telegraphing to the government that we're ready. Call your election, brother. And we're sending a message to the opposition. The people no longer have to wait and play any, mini, miny, mo. They're going to have a real option to deliver representation that protects them and their family and serves them. And we want the people of Trinidad and Tobago to seize this moment. This is the time for all of us to come together and stand together under that umbrella. The Progressive Empowerment Party has the policies and the people to make Trinidad and Tobago better for all of us. Thank you very much.
We're ready, yeah, we're ready.